But through all of that, he was still able to put together a Hall of Fame bowling career. Unfortunately, he passed away of cancer shortly before he was even notified that he was going to be receiving this honor. So it is my sincere honor to present Bob Bayless as our Veteran Hall of Fame honoree. And accepting on his behalf will be Mike Burns, his good friend, and his friend Adrian LeBlanc.
First of all, I'm honored to be here that I can represent Bob Bayless Jr., who is overseas serving the military right now. That's why I'm speaking on behalf of Bob Jr. Wish he could be here. That would probably be a great honor for him to take that for his father. I had a couple words from the family. Thank you, Debbie Juno Wicks, I know I'm going to say that right, and Doug Cooper for your well-written articles about Bob in the paper. The family really enjoyed that, and thank you very much. Thanks for the honor of inducting Bob into the Hall of Fame. He'd be very happy to know. He was a very honest man, a hard-working man. Many achievements in his bowling career. This would obviously be the pinnacle for him. Wish he could be here tonight to accept the award. He thoroughly enjoyed bowling on his bowling teams. If any of you guys bowled against him or were on a team to be with him, he was always rooting for you as well as himself. Always, cheering you on and helping you out. I had a little bit of that happened to me also. I did get to bowl with him for a couple years in the Eagles League, and he really helped me out. He was always a good sport, even when you beat him. He was always a good sport. He will be remembered for his tremendous spirit, good sense of humor, his encouragement of other bowlers, and all the accomplishments. And like I said, I wish that Bob Jr. could be here tonight. But on behalf of him, I'd like to say thank you to all of who helped him get there. Thanks.
Well, I really don't know where to start. Bob and I were close friends for 43 years. I first met Bob in 1970 at PLA-MOR Lanes in Tuesday night Classic League. And as I found out later, he finally told me some years later that he didn't particularly like me when he first met me. I didn't want to let him know that I had that same effect on other people too. I tried to let him believe that he was the only one, but he did let me know that he didn't. But for some reason, we were bowling on opposing teams that year, and for some reason, I guess I grew on him, and we finally started hitting it off, and we became good friends, although we were bowling on opposing teams. And unfortunately that year, he finished very high in the lottery. It was the draft. I distinctly remember standing at PLA-MOR on a Tuesday night watching the military draft lottery. And Bob had never won anything in his life, but I think he placed second that night. And he was gone very quickly after that. So our friendship kind of got broke up for a while, for like 18 months, and he served his country in Vietnam for 18 months. As soon as he came back, we met up again at PLA-MOR, and we started bowling a summer league together, a trio summer league. And the following fall, we were bowling, we put a team together, and we were bowling in all the classic leagues. That's where we wanted to bowl, because Bob felt the same way I did. He wanted to be the best that he could be, and we wanted to compete with the best bowlers in town. And there was a lot of classic leagues around at those days, and that's where we wanted to be. And we put a team together, and that's where we bowled. And Bob was a great bowler. He had a good, solid game. He was never out of it. I don't care how tough the conditions were. He was always close and there. And I made the comment once that he could fall in a bucket of manure and come out smelling like a rose, because I don't care how tough the condition was, he was always close. And some of the things that he was most proud of was he was a perennial 200 average bowler back in the day when we used plastic and rubber balls on wood lanes. And back in those days, being a 200 average bowler back in the early 70s, it set you apart and put you in an elite group of bowlers. And I was privileged to watch him bowl his first of 6 300 games that he had. He bowled that in 1972, and you know, he was very proud of that, and proud of all the other honor scores that he had. That was back in the day again, using rubber balls and plastic balls, and there might be 12 or 15 300 games in the whole association for the whole year. So it was quite, again, put you in an elite group of bowlers, but that just give you some kind of an idea of he was a good bowler. But not only that, he was a like Adrian said, he didn't want to steal the limelight from anybody else. If somebody else shot a 300 against him, he was the first guy to go up and shake their hand. And in the Eagles League that he was talking about in later years, there was a mutual friend of ours that commented, if it wasn't for Bob, I would have never had my only 300 game. Because when I got my first 8 in a row, I was nervous. He never had a 300 game before. And he said, Bob talked me through the last 3 shots and encouraged me, and I got a 300 game. And he's never had another one since then, and he credits Bob with him winning, getting that 300 game. But that's the kind of guy he was. He would go up and be the first one to shake your hand if you had an honor score. He wanted you to have your moment in the sun too. So, but you know, we've been friends. We were friends for 43 years, and in 1974, Bob was a roofer by trade, a commercial roofer, and he fell through an open skylight about 3 weeks before our 74 bowling season. And the doctors gave him less than a 50% chance of surviving that fall. And we were supposed to bowl in 3 weeks in our league, and we had to replace him. And of course, we didn't know at the time that whether he was going to make it or not. But he pulled through that, he battled through that, and he was told also that he would never bowl again. He did make it through the fall, but he was told he would never bowl again. And that's all Bob had to hear, was somebody telling him he couldn't do something. And by the time the next season rolled around, he was fully recovered and back bowling. And that year, our team won our first city tournament title, the city team title that year. And he was an instrumental part in us winning that title. And he went on to win 2 more city team titles, because even though Bob had some individual accomplishments that he was proud of, he was a team bowler. He enjoyed nothing more than helping his team win, whether it's a game, a match, or a tournament. And that he enjoyed that most of all. And that's what and he was also the funniest man that I ever, I mean, he could make you laugh till you hurt. I mean, it doesn't matter if you were on his team or the opposing team, he had the funniest sense of humor of anybody I ever met. But we were good friends for 43 years, and Bob battled through a lot of stuff. Vietnam, his fall, and the final battle he faced, he just couldn't win. But he fought with dignity till the very end. And I'm proud tonight to call him my friend and my teammate. And I miss him. And bowling has lost a good man. Bob was a good man. And I want to thank the Greater Dayton USBC Veterans Committee for recognizing his bowling accomplishments and giving him this award tonight. And I also want to thank Cheryl for letting me come up here and talk in behalf of my good friend Bob. Thank you.
Well, I wondered if I was going to drop anything, and I almost broke that. So, our next honoree this evening